Good afternoon, guys. We're doing lesson 11 today, and it's on page 51. So we're going to start out with just reciprocals. So with a reciprocal, it's the multiplicative inverse. It's the number that when you multiply both of these by themselves, you'll get 1. So you just flip it upside down, and you can see that if you multiply these, everything cancels. So the reciprocal is also known as the multiplicative inverse. If I have a negative 1/2, the sign is not affected. The reciprocal is a negative 2 over 1, or just 2. If you have a whole number, remember that's the same thing as 4 over 1, so its reciprocal would be 1 over 4. Then what if we have, well, what's the reciprocal of 0? Remember, 0 is like saying 0 over 1. So the reciprocal of that would technically be 1 over 0. But if you can divide by 0, that means that 0 times something would have to be equal to 1, wouldn't it? And there is no anything that is multiplied by 0 to equal to 1. So that's why division by 0, or the reciprocal of 0, is undefined. So no reciprocal of 0. All right, to remember, a number multiplied by its reciprocal is always equal to 1. Okay, turn the page. More on order of operations. So remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses, then exponents, multiplication, division from left to right, and then finally addition and subtraction from left to right. So this first example says 4 times 3 plus 2 plus negative 3 times 5. Okay, so I know it's, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, but these right here don't really count as parentheses because there's not an operation inside of them. So really what they are is they're nothing more than multiplication, which is what we have up front. So we don't have parentheses, we don't have exponents. We start doing any multiplication and division from left to right. So 4 times 3 gives us 12. We don't do anything with the plus yet. And then negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. Okay, now all we have left is addition, subtraction, so we do that from left to right. 12 plus 2 is 14. And then 14 minus 15 is negative 1. All right. Next is minus 5 times 2 minus 3 plus 6 times 3. So what do you think we need to do first in this problem? No parentheses to speak of, no exponents. So we're going to skip down to multiplication. So there's 1 and there's 1. Negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. And then 6 times 3 is 18. Okay, well this is nice because the two negatives are already together. So minus 10 minus 3, it's like signs. So we add, keep the sign. And now we have unlike signs, so we subtract. 18 minus 13 is 5, and we keep the sign on the larger number. So that remains positive. All right, next. They're going to try to trick us. We just have to remember, always do the multiplication first. So this is 4 times 3 minus 2 times 5 plus 6. And then minus 5 times 2. Okay, I ran out of room, so I'm going to write it here. All right, so we're going to do all the multiplications first. So that's this, and this, and this. So 4 times 3 is 12. And negative 2 times positive 5 is, negative times positive is negative. 2 times 5 is 10. Bring down the 6. It's not being multiplied by anything. And then negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. So just be super careful that you're not trying to add something before you do all of your multiplications. So at this point, it's all just addition and subtraction. And you can do it from left to right, or you can put the positives together. 12 plus 6, and then minus 10, which this gives you 18. This gives you minus 20. And we end up with subtract. Keep the sign on the bigger number, so negative 2. All right. Okay, next page. Identifying multiplication and division. So when two numbers are written next to each other, one of them's in parentheses, or if both of them are in parentheses, that means multiplication. If, obviously, if they have a dot in between them, that means multiplication. And when you're multiplying, please remember that the sign in front of the number goes with that number. So that one that they have written there, super long problem, 4 minus 3 parentheses 5 minus 7 times negative 6 minus parentheses 4 and parentheses negative 5. Okay, so that's multiplication, that's multiplication, that's multiplication. You would just bring down the 4. And then remember, this sign right here goes with the 3. That sign goes with the 7. That sign goes with the 4. So negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. Negative 7 times negative 6 is, negative times negative is positive, 42. And then again, negative times negative is positive 20. So I definitely would add these guys first. 42 plus 20 is 62 plus 4 is 66. And then you just have one subtraction to do. All right? Okay, guys. So I will see you tomorrow for class. Make sure you have this ready to grade. And please send me a message to and let's see, what should the message be? Well, let's see. Make sure you share that with Mr. Umberger because he thinks that that's completely false. Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow.